answers.
I think so, Ashwini. First of all, to start a startup, somebody has a
Hmm.
business idea,
Okay.
and moreover, a strong
Hmm.
belief on the business idea. Because
Okay.
if you do not believe in your business idea, possibly you will not be able to start a startup.
Okay, got
S-
it. So this is Ashwini who has a business idea. Okay. Then then what else? I have a business idea. Then what do I do?
I think so. Once you have a business idea, then
Hmm.
you will try to validate
Hmm.
if that
Hmm.
idea is like
Hmm.
genuine enough or like right enough to serve the need of people. Like, so basically, is this a valid use case or not? You will check, you will test the validation of that idea with the
Sure.
with the potential audience.
Who is that potential audience?
So
What do we call them?
customers,
Customer.
stakeholders, yeah, customers,
Okay.
stakeholders, maybe the service
Hmm.
provider or the service receiver or the product
Okay.
um, buyer or the product producer. So
Okay.
that way, yeah.
So I'll use a generic term and I mean call them kind of customers and I mean kind of keep them in somewhere center. Okay.
Hmm,
That's
hmm,
where I started with. And like you said, I mean validation, right? So I have
correct.
Preet, I mean, who was little technical and he said, let's validate with the customers. Yeah. We validated some hypotheses and we feel that there is a market.
Correct.
What do we do next? We both have stopped coding some time back. So
This is great.
what do we do next?
So if I continue talking,
Yeah.
possibly once you have validated your idea that it's a good idea and
Okay.
there is a demand,
Okay.
and people are willing to
Hmm.
pay some money, because
Hmm.
money is very important, right? So
Yeah.
people are
Correct.
willing to pay for that service or product that you are willing to offer.
Yeah.
Then the next thing is, somebody wrote on the chat as well, like you will
Hmm.
try to carve out a MVP,
Okay.
right? You will start thinking of like what that MVP should be, what the minimal features that
Hmm.
will drive the maximum value to those customers. So you will you
Okay.
will you will start writing the requirements for those MVP. You will find out like how
Okay.
best we can, with
Okay.
the minimum cost, we can create that MVP. And then
Okay.
you again do that validation with the
Hmm. Hmm.
let's say some first beta phase of
Sure.
customers with which
Okay.
you will test the MVP.
Okay. So I hired some people because, as I said, right, me and Preet have stopped coding a long back. So
Hmm.
while we have an idea, we don't know how to go about it, right? So I hired some people. I mean, write an MVP. So others also on the call, right? So what would I do then? Writing an MVP, then validating my hypothesis. We are all from the agile part, right? What comes to your mind there?
Then you'll prepare for the elevation pitch.
Okay. Then I have some
Then
code and I
we look
actually
for the,
have I have some code and I'm actually having some product. What should I
you
do?
mean you will be ready with the POC.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah.
Then we'll go to the sponsors or the stakeholders with whom we believe that they can, sponsor
Hmm.
in our
Hmm.
idea and
Okay.
help us in reaching to the customers faster.
Okay. Think, I mean, for a sake of an argument, right? Me and Preet
Hmm.
have some seed money. I mean, we have saved some money in the last
Mhm.
20 years. While we have not done that one,
Hmm.
let's assume, right? We have saved some money. So we have money is not a, as of now for a small MVP, it is not a constraint. That's why I've hired a small team. Okay. So mostly, I mean, what I'm going to do is, I mean, design, develop, right?
Mhm.
Like you also said, some beta test, right, with the customer, POCs, and so on and so forth. Sorry, I have to move you guys here. So somewhere here, I'm there. Again, this looks like you have put a pen to the chicken's leg, and that is drawing and writing something. So as long as we all know what it is, right? So I did that one. And what happened next was this product became a little successful in the market, right? Like I tried it out. I mean, it became a little successful in the market, and somebody from some newspaper also came and interviewed us, right? And that caught the attention of some people, saying that okay, this is a nice news product. I mean, look like these young guys. I mean, while we are little old, but still young enough, these young guys have, I mean, some bright idea, right? And we were also talking to Sumit, and again, Sumit, I'm pulling you everywhere because I can see you straight on the screen here. So what he did is, I mean, he went to a venture capitalist, and he has some more friends who are venture capitalists. We got into that forum. Somebody talked about an elevator pitch. What is that elevator pitch? And what do you mean by an elevator pitch for the benefit of all of us, right?
It's pitching with the potential sponsors,
Okay.
going with the our business case or lean business case, and then
Sure.
presenting our lean business case to the in front of the potential sponsors or the stakeholders,
Okay.
and then getting the conviction from them. If they believe in this product, they'll invest in the product, and then make sure that there is a ROI to that.
Okay.
But more precisely, I would say it's one of the way to present your vision of the
Yeah.
product.
Yeah,
Correct.
I'm presenting my vision. Yeah. So
Presenting the
elevator
vision.
pitches, typically you get, say, 30 seconds in an elevator with your CEO and you want to pitch, or if they ask, I mean, what are you doing? You want to be like telling something which sticks to their mind, right? I did this business case presentation, and now what happened is VC was very happy and they want to put a lot of money with me, right? What do I do now? Sorry, guys. I'm hope I'm not making you think in the evening when you are almost ready to sleep, right? Hear some jnana and sleep.
No, Ashwini, I think so. This is a good discussion, and honestly, I'm enjoying it, and I'm literally putting myself in your shoes, and where I'm thinking, I have made
Yeah.
a product, and I
Uh,
talked to the venture capitalist. I did my presentation,
yeah.
and they are happy.
Yeah.
They are willing to pour in the money, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Then the next thing I would think is, should I sell?
Yeah.
Should I sell my stake? Because
Okay. Yeah.
because it so far it has been proven
Mm.
that my idea
Mm.
is good, my
Yeah.
product is good,
Mm. Mm.
and possibly my intention was to understand this only from that meeting,
Yeah.
right? Again,
Got
I
it.
will come
Yeah.
back without asking any money, and I will
Yeah.
think that
Yeah.
how can I save my product 100% with me only, not with
Yeah.
anybody, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that could be one thought.
That's a dilemma of, I mean, Google founders, Facebook founders as well, right? Somebody asked
Correct.
them, I mean, gave them $1 million and they were ready to buy, but but they denied and said, we have a good idea, so we want to grow bigger and see, right?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So let's assume I take a seed money, say Series A, Series B, Series C, whatever it is, right?
Mhm.
I retain the stake. It is not like, I mean, I've sold it to someone, but I retain the stake. I become the CEO, and maybe Preet becomes the CTO, or vice versa, right? Preet, what do you want? so so we retain the stake. I mean, we are the founders, and we got some seed money. We also thought, okay, we will grow our team now because there is some money, right? So while growing the team, what happens? What are the things that could happen?
When one grow very fast,
Hmm.
they sometimes fail, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
while you are growing, and I have seen
Hmm.
one example in my career as well, like um, sometimes you do not understand like
Hmm.
how to manage
Hmm.
that growth. If growth is
Yeah, yeah,
coming very frequently, and it is coming very fast, and
yeah,
at
yeah.
times maybe the growth is not coming,
Okay,
right?
yeah.
So there are two possible paths where growth is coming, then you
Hmm.
need to manage that growth. If growth is
Hmm.
not coming, then you need to find the flaws, you need to
Hmm. Hmm.
find
Hmm. Hmm.
you need to do those root cause analysis to find out like what is happening and why the growth is not
Sure,
coming,
sure.
right? So
Think about, let's think about growth is coming, and also it's, as you said, I mean, it is very fast because 5 to 10 is 100% growth, isn't it? Right? So 50 to 55 is maybe 10%, but 5 to 10 is 100%. So typically in any large organizations, when there is a growth, what do we do?
They might
For
diversify.
I mean, even again, diversification is, I mean, maybe a little later, but see, I mean, me and Preet were earlier, right? I mean, it was very easy for us to talk to these 5 developers and get things done. Now that because we are growing bigger and bigger, again, I mean, I'm just putting some people, all are look same, but trust me, we have diversity in our organization. And my drawing says everybody is similar, right? Not really that. So we have grown like this. So if I can't manage this one, what would I do?
You'll
I can't
hire
really
more
manage it.
people
Yeah. For?
for managing these people.
I love that. You hire more people to manage people.
Exactly.
In fact, you'll outsource some of the things if you can't,
Yeah.
if you cannot
Yeah.
manage. You'll outsource.
Okay.
You'll find a partner who can
outsource. Okay. Vendor. Okay.
You will create the servant leadership basically.
Okay.
Or-
I don't want to go there for a while.
So basically, while somebody says like to do the outsourcing, I'm a bit cautious, because if I do the outsourcing, possibly the quality will, I need to make sure the quality is great, right? Otherwise,
Okay.
I may lose my USP. I may lose my satisfaction of the customers, right? So if I think of having a vendor, or if I want to outsource something, I need to 100% make sure that the quality is as good as if I am doing that thing, right?
Sure. I hear few things now. I hear hiring. I hear quality. I hear compliance. So, who are those people who are actually helping us do that?
specialists in different areas.
Okay.
Because
Who are those specialists?
when you have a bigger team, probably you will hire an HR, right, who will take care of the HR recruitment, and then probably you'll have admin facilities, all the support staff.
Okay. Admin facility support. Okay. Okay, so I've hired some, I mean, very good HRs from the industry. I mean, they have set some processes for me, and now I have hired again, I have a big team. I have, I mean, for whatever it is, right? Hierarchies are created, isn't it? So, like someone of you said, diversify. That means that instead of one product, I have a product line which is serving different markets also now, isn't it? Yeah. Again, I'm taking, guys, I mean, only the positive part. Let's not worry about negative part on almost near to the weekend, right? Let's see, I mean, what is that negative part? Yeah. So I have done all this now, and I have become, again, this is also going good. And what happens is, so this is also going good. I have also heard about Agile now. So my teams have been kind of segregated into separate teams, I mean, which are working in an Agile way, and so on and so forth. See, I and me and Preet, right? I mean, we wanted to be a hands-on CEO and CTO. So we love people. I mean, we want to be with people, so on and so forth. But in a 6 months, we have grown to around, say, 100 people. Can I work with them on a daily basis? Is it possible? Work with everyone in the organization on a daily basis? Is it possible?
Maybe not. No.
Maybe not.
only with few you can work with them directly if you have the hierarchy. If not, it will be very difficult to interact with all 100.
Okay. So as a leader, what are all the things that I should do now? I want to be close to the people, but at the same time, I also know that if I go and start talking to everyone, actually I'm impeding their own growth, impeding their own speed, isn't it? Right? What should I do?
Maybe find your second line whom you can trust, who can represent you.
Okay. So I create some programs, portfolios. So who would manage the money for me?
Financial team.
PMO office.
PMO, awesome. PMO, again, a PMO might also have, sorry guys, I mean, I'll make it little better. I know, I mean, I can't be so lousy. PMO, finance, okay. So I hire all of them. As a leader, what are the softer side of it, side of things that I need? What's your thought there?
Training and
Okay.
development.
Okay. Okay. So L&D training and development and so on and so forth.
So
My own.
Marketing team also.
Okay, marketing. My own software aspects. What are those things?
So Ashwini, so if I understand your question, yeah. So your point is you have become a leader. You are having a team of 100 people. You want to stay in touch with those people, but you do not want to impede their growth or their work that they are doing, right? So if I think about a solution possibly, or if I have seen some leaders in that situation, like what they do, they normally have a second line, as somebody says, a second line of managers who manage the ground workers directly. And being a leader, you can still stay in touch with the ground workers. You can have town halls. You can have
Town halls. Okay.
right. You can have town halls where you can motivate people. So
Okay.
basically, you will never go and judge or manage or interfere in their work. You will seek the feedback from your second line, and you will motivate people in those town halls. You will sell your visions to those people in those town halls, right? And wherever you will gauge the opinion of your 100 people team using the employee opinion surveys, right? You will.
Okay.
So basically you want to understand what my crowd thinks, right? Are they motivated? Are they happy? Are they willing to work? Do they have the entrepreneur mindset, or the way
Okay.
you have hired, right? So
Okay.
basically you will do all those kind of things, but you
Okay.
will always take the status from your second line. You will
Okay.
never go to anybody's seat to check if he's doing the right work or not. You might go to
Sure.
somebody's seat to understand if he's facing any trouble or not, if
Okay.
he's having the right environment in the office or not. So those kind of things you will do as a leader, in my opinion.
There's also a nice, thanks Ram for that. And there's also one more who said, create leaders like you, right?
Yeah. Who represent you, who share your vision.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
when you were a smaller team, you were successful because you were closely working with a smaller team who shared your vision,
Okay.
who
Okay.
liked your ideas, and then you were available to them all the time. Now,
Yeah.
when you
Yeah.
grow bigger, probably you have more responsibilities, and still you have to somehow create a feeling for everybody that even if you are a CEO, you are available to the team,
Sure.
and somehow you have to ensure that all the 100 folks share your vision the
Yeah.
way you
Yeah.
were a
Yeah. Yeah.
smaller
Yeah.
team.
Yeah. 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 So, say I'm able to create that impression with the people, and they are kind of liking my vision, and they are also going on the path of what I have chosen, right? So, what does that organization becomes if we are able to inculcate all those vision and influence people with our vision? I mean, what does that organization go on the path of?
Growth.
Growth. Yeah. Anything else?
That's a happy organization, Ashwini.
Okay.
It's a dream organization.
Okay.
I
I call it
I
as
would like to.
I call it as an utopia organization, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Again, think about, from your perspective, an utopia organization. Say, for example, utopia organization. What are the kind of things they take care of? Forget
That
now
peop-
about all the people, forget now about the leaders and stuff. What are the things they take care of?
People are empowered. They feel part of the organization. They are growing in terms of their personal and professional growth. So
Yeah.
their aspirations are met, and there is a roadmap for them of where they will be. So they are motivated because of that.
Aspiration roadmap is something I liked. It's an utopia organization for me. Yeah.
So basically, whatever the previous person said, like if I say it in one line, you will keep your eyes on the cheese. Basically, somebody should not steal your cheese, and your cheese is your people, your customer, right? Your staff, and your secret recipe of the product, whatever you are creating, right? So
Okay.
you will keep strong open eye on those things so that nobody steal that, right?
Okay.
because
Eyes
because
open.
eyes open, because
Yeah.
see, if somebody poach your employees, right, you will become weak. If somebody takes your clients, customers, you will become weak. And somebody understand how you are making a product, then also you have a competitor.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you will
So, yeah, essentially, I mean, you learn, isn't it? Essentially,
correct,
you learn.
correct,
Yeah.
correct, correct.
Yeah. So let's think about see this company, Utopia companies. I mean, growing well, and I also reach a stage where I mean, I kind of become a part of. I mean, I want to go to this Fang company. Fang company. What is Fang?
Facebook, Amazon.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ashwin, this is
Apple,
Manish. Yeah, Apple,
Apple,
Netflix,
Netflix, and
Netflix,
Google.
and
Google.
Google. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So if you
It's now
consider this,
Tang, right? Tesla is there.
Tesla is there, and I think I need
Since I come
to
from automotive,
add.
so Tesla is
Actually,
also
I'll,
there.
I'll, I'll, I'll make it as Fat NG.
or we can say Fatang.
Fatang. So, I mean, if I think about this Fang or Fatang or whatever as a country, right? That country stands third in the GDP after US and China. And mostly, I mean, they'll also overtake China and US in a short period of time, isn't it? If you
Yeah.
think about these kind of companies, what are the things they will care for? Now, forget about a small company of 1,000 people, right? So maybe, I mean, still we are 1,000 people, but we have product so big, right? I mean, it is reaching the next billion people. What are the kind of things that I will think of? Now, forget about just me and Preet. I mean, we have a very good board of directors. I mean, like 40 of you, 35 plus of you here, right? I mean, we have hired each one of you as a senior VPs and stuff, right? Think about that.
Innovation.
Continuous value to customers.
Okay, innovation. Okay,
And always connected with people through internet.
continuous value. Okay, always connected, right?
Yeah.
Connected. Yeah.
Sir?
I can't go down, isn't it? So if so, like last month sometime, I mean, WhatsApp was off for some time, and it broke the internet, so to say, right?
Right.
And I think
I
so. I will say, be
hmm,
sensible, be sensitive, and don't feel like you are inevitable,
hmm,
because mistakes
hmm,
like what WhatsApp are doing right now, the changing the
hmm,
privacy policy,
hmm,
may and and it is
hmm.
creating a competitor, right? Signal is
Yeah,
becoming
yeah, yeah, yeah,
it is seeing the growth, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
so and we saw the demise of Orkut, right? we
yeah,
have we have seen the fall of so many companies, Yahoo,
yeah,
or
yeah,
many
yeah,
other companies, right? So
yeah,
so
yeah.
while you are at the top, you also
Hmm.
need to keep your feet at the floor, right?
At
So
the floor, yeah,
right, so something like that also need to be taken care, that
yeah.
you think about uh, that whatever you're doing is aligned with your customers or not.
Hmm, hmm, hmm. Yeah. So I think by this time, these regulations, governments also catch up with you, isn't it?
Yeah.
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 Yes.
Privacy policies and stuff, right?
Yeah, actually, see, Twitter banning Trump has initiated so much discussion on the social media, right? And now
Yes.
I think so that's a mistake that Twitter has done.
Yeah. 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 I mean, you are looked at as, I mean, kind of, I mean, very crucially and I mean, critically. You can't, I mean, kind of go wrong, isn't it? while you are continuously evolving, I mean, you can't go wrong as well.
You cannot go wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. I would call it as something like this. You are riding a car. The tire is flat, but you can't stop the tire. You stop the car. You have to still drive, but at the same time, you have to change the tires.
Right.
So that's the kind of situation, I mean, you will hit into when you grow, I mean, very, very big, isn't it?
Ashwini, I think you're giving a new innovation idea.
Tesla
I
already
think
does
the
most
car
of
has to
them.
be Formula One.
Formula One
You
also
should have
has
a pit
two.
stop then.
Yeah, you just stop for 4 seconds or 3 seconds and
Yeah, that is like that is still 99.99% reliability, not to the last 6 digits, right?
right.
Yeah. So those are the kind of conditions that I will kind of hit upon. So
Ashwini, it's also important to be part of customers' day-to-day activity. Like, for example, Google. I cannot think of any search engine apart from Google. If I want to search something, if I want to get some information, I'll first Google it. So it has become day-to-day life now. Even with Google Homes now, if I want to play songs, I don't have to open my radio or phone. I can just ask Google Homes, Google Assist to play some song.
Yeah. So, I mean, in essence, I mean, what you are saying is even when you are say 20,000 people company, you have to work like a startup, isn't it?
Yes.
Being with the customer. Yeah. Being with the customer, you have to work like a startup. I mean, you have to have that mindset, so to say, right? So in our world, I mean, mindset word is too often used. Let me also use it once, right? So see, as a CEO, think about because you brought Google into the mix. Think about Larry Page and Sergey Brin. Yeah. So they started from a garage and grown to where they are today. So can they be really with the customer on a daily basis? Is it humanly possible? And their customers are 2 billion and they are trying to think about another 1 billion.
In my opinion, they have trusted associates who are doing their job.
They
have sold their dreams to somebody like who is now living their dreams. So and in my opinion, they are now on a even a bigger path, because the day they created Alphabet, right, and they made Google small in front of Alphabet, right? So that means they have stepped up, and they are certainly doing something bigger than the Google, right?
So I have to create that ecosystem, right? Or I mean, I would also call it as an operating system, I mean, which kind of connects this big organization into an entrepreneur network, a smaller one, right? It kind of takes care of both of us. Google cannot say that, I mean, you are all entrepreneurs, I mean, go ahead and do the innovation. Then what happens is everybody is going to run in their own way, like headless chickens, right? So instead of that, I mean, what we want to do is connect both the parts. So this is where, again, SAFe comes in. So SAFe says, I mean, we are that dual operating system like John Carter called out, which connects your hierarchy to the entrepreneurial network. So again, hierarchy, I'm not talking about hierarchy as a bad thing. You create structures because you have compliance concerns. I mean, you have to take care of where you are, I mean, your customers. And also think about this. While we want to be that startup kid, I mean, who knows anything and everything, it's humanly not possible. We have different skill sets. I mean, we come from different areas and so on and so forth. So how do we actually do it through SAFe is what I all talked about. So that's what is business agility for SAFe. Let me, I mean, kind of go back and redraw you what are all those things. So the main thing.
Just a small question. So the things which you just talked about, this is Saurabh. So these are the good to have things, and everyone would want to have it, but it looks like a long-term goals. So when we are talking about startups, so are we talking about some time frame to achieve these, or because it takes years to get into all these things which we have just written on the board?
Exactly. Now let me connect back my story to a safe implementation, so to say.
Okay.
Yeah. So what I am looking at is I am looking at this foundation, which is nothing but leadership. Yeah. Even you are a 2 people company or a 200,000 people company, this is what is serves as a foundation. They are the ones, I mean, who are going to set and sell the vision, create leaders like them, and I will call them as walking the talk. They just don't talk; they walk the talk. In the sense, they understand, I mean, what needs to be there, and they make sure that those things are taken care. So they have that emotional intelligence, so to say, right? And some of you asked about, okay, we start small and we grow big. That's where I started my story as well, right? So there were 5 people, maybe we are a small scrum team, so to say, or I mean, we are working in an agile way. This is where your team and technical agility comes in. Yeah. That's why I was repeatedly calling, while me and Preet are good in processes, we are good in talking to people and getting them together. We were not really good at coding or I mean actually building the product. We have only ideas, right? So somebody had to fructify those ideas. So this is where for me the team and technical agility came in, where we started building some products. Yeah. So a small team, we are still connect small entity of individuals, we are doing good. This again, many of the companies will be like this forever. Maybe I mean they still work with Scrum or I mean their own methodology of I mean agility. Yeah. Now then, I mean, what's the next step that we called out? We called out one venture at Capitalist came in. We started hiring people, isn't it? This is where we talked about actually 2 things. One is our hierarchy, outsourcing, vendors are coming in. So this is where what we see is this portion of the framework, or I mean this portion of the competency. This is where I mean it is called as agile product delivery in SAFe, but for me it is about scaling up. For me, it is about scaling up. I mean, while hierarchy comes in, I mean, vendors are involved. I do outsourcing. And the other thing that I do on the other side is about, like you called out, we are hiring people. We need HR, we need admin. I mean, we need smart support people. We need training, L&D. The SAFe view or as a consultant, I mean, my viewpoint also is if you involve them later in the game, you are going to lose on the agility. You don't hire right people for the attitude. You don't have penetration into the right market. You don't have what we call as a strategy agility. So this is where we need the organization to be agile. So I will call it as maybe an org agility. The organization to be agile, not just your development teams or not just one IT team or not just one team is agile, but your organization is agile. Okay. And at the same time, when you are growing up, some of you also pointed out, we need PMO, we need employees to be happy, we need some programs. I will call it as collection of programs where I'm growing bigger than 100 people. When you're 100 people, I mean, maybe you call it as a program. That's what is called as an agile release train in SAFe. When you grow bigger than that, you have multiple trains. Typically, we don't suggest more than 125 people in a train because of a Dunbar, what we call as a Dunbar's number. Yeah, you might want to search around what is the Dunbar's number and why it is important for a tribe or a group of individuals to be within that limit. Okay, so when I have this collection of programs or an agile release train, I will carve out these portfolios. Portfolios could be line of business for me. Portfolios could be markets for me. Portfolios could be a vertical that I will be working with, right? So it could be any of those things. So I'm looking at, I mean, those are the kind of options I'm looking at. What else happens then? Sorry, guys, I think my Nikon is giving away. So let me go back to the normal camera. So whatever could go wrong will go wrong in between. So, and what else then? So this is where I'm looking at thinking about my organization becoming bigger. At the same time, like you guys called out, the growth mindset, happy organization, people having the aspirations, people having that learning culture, right? So I want my organization to be continuously learning. Continuously learning. This is where I create a culture. Again, I'm not starting to create a culture, but over a period of time, because of the learnings that we have, because of the things that we do, all right, we have a bigger picture, what we call as a systems thinking, and we create a culture in an organization. We create a culture in an organization. That's how we say, okay, that company culture is good, or that company culture is bad, or X or Y or Z, right? So this is what I am calling it out as continuous learning culture. And the last thing, the seventh thing that I talked about was the FANG economy, or fat and economy, whatever it is, right? So this is typically like 2 to 3% of the world, or even lesser than that. So companies, which are big, which are building big systems like, say, Amazons and Googles, or Lockheed Martins, and some of the healthcare companies, right? So they are multi-billion-dollar companies. So to manage them, I am talking about a competency called enterprise solution delivery, right? So this is where not just the software, but also your compliances, many a times hardware, many a times vendor management, your quality management systems, your regulations, all these things come into place, right? So this is what I will call it as a enterprise solution delivery. So if I go back to now save page, so business agility is defined as ability to compete and thrive in the digital age by quickly responding to market changes and emerging opportunities with innovative business solutions. Again, multiple of things. You are responding to market, you are being innovative, you are also looking at emerging opportunities, and you have the ability to survive first and also thrive in this economy, right? So if I'm thinking about that, that's where we say this requires everybody involved to be part of it. Not just the IT, not just the business, not just the HR, not just the marketing, everybody to be part of it. What I would highly recommend you is go to scaledagileFramework.com, which is free for anyone to open and go through. Don't even worry about the essential safe, large configuration safe. If you are already not certified in safe, it will confuse you a little bit. Just go to the overview tab, click on the business agility, which opens this tab or open this article for you. Go and read about it. What has happened in the previous world, and how we have kind of gone from a network to a hierarchy, how we can balance out that, and how that requires these 7 core competencies, what we called about, right? So these 7 core competencies are listed out here. There are also dimensions, 3 dimensions for each of them, which we are not going to talk too much about that. Most of them, in fact, out of the 21, 7 into 3, 21 dimensions, I think you guys have called out 15 or more dimensions already. So business agility is nothing but that, again, this is my quote, that mindset of ours, where you are keeping your customer in center and building these core competencies over a period of time. And like some of you rightly called out, it is not that you have all these core competencies today. You may not even require. If I am a startup with 5 people, I really don't require a lean portfolio management or an enterprise solution delivery, even agile product delivery. I'm happy with team and technical agility. But when I scale up, I need to have these competencies. That's where you called out second line, third line, fourth line, whatever line of leaders, right? They become important. So you make sure that while you are building those lines, or so-called lines, you're making sure that they have those competencies, and they have it in the right doses. So a lean portfolio manager is not going to get into team and technical agility. While they are connected, they are not going to get into that. But at the same time, as a leader, you are selling your vision. You are going out and making sure that everything runs like a harmony. Everything runs like a harmony. So that's what business agility is all about in a layman term for me. Make sense?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is kind of end of my talk or my presentation, so to say. Anything else that we want to know?
Hello, Ashwini.
Yeah.
This is Rudresh, and
Yeah.
I have a question. See, all this 7 core competencies will be good with the startup companies or with a company which is in the growing stage. How about company which is already established as number one? And how quick these 7 core competencies can be adapted in that company, because it's already established and there are, like you said, there are a lot of people and each of the business unit operates in a different way.
Yeah.
And especially for people working in India, especially if it is a captive unit, it is always redressal. Somebody, it's always guided. You'll have to do this kind of work and give it back to them.
Yeah. So this is where
how it can be adapted in those org.
Yeah, I will take it. In two different. As a two different pieces. One thing, if you have really become big and you are profitable, that means you are doing some things right, isn't it? It is not that you have done everything wrong.
Yes, absolutely.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely right. You can't become what do you say? You can't
Number
become
one.
number one leader without actually doing something really nice, isn't it?
Correct.
So that is where I would say team and technical agility. You would have hired the right people. You would have hired the best in the best, isn't it? So only thing is, you might need to now maybe focus on their career, learning, and moving forward also. And also, if you look at the framework, right, when we talk about an essential safe, you have only 3 core competencies that are required. Leadership is a foundational one. It's going to be everywhere. Team and technical agility, agile product delivery. And also in the overview tab, the left side is focused mostly on the execution part of it. So to start small, you always need the execution focus. But over a period of time, when you grow bigger, or when you are inculcating these new thoughts in the entirety of the organization, what you start doing is getting the strategic part of it. This is where your lean portfolio management, your organizational agility, continuous learning culture, these things also come in. And as a consultant, I will go with the viewpoint that companies are doing something right. So amplify that one. What they are doing right, amplify that one.
So by moving towards learning organization,
exactly,
it will amplify.
Yeah. And also that's where SAFe gives you certain practices like PI planning, where developer to CEO is in one room, isn't it? Developer to a CEO or an executive is in one room, and we start appreciating. For me, it is more about an alignment and appreciation for what each one of us does. So as a developer, I understand the problem of my business. As a business, I understand when a developer writes one line of code, what is it going to cost, isn't it? So SAFe provides you those practices. For me, again, practices are secondary. The principles and the mindset is the first thing, where we want to deliver fast. We want to deliver with the customer. We want to hypothesize and put out MVPs and validate those things, and move forward, right? Again, I will go back to SAFe's foundational element of principle, just to bring back, right? If I go to principles, again, I have the same narrative for principles as well as a CEO. The first 3 things a CEO will do is take an economic view, ROI, is it worth, right? Apply systems thinking, where they think a holistic view, assume variability and preserve option, where they have a plan A versus plan B versus, how do I move forward, right? That's the leadership option. Then when you start building, this is where number 4 to 6 come in. Teams build incrementally, hypothesize, and put out MVPs. Their milestones are always objective, in the sense, you get the direct feedback from the customer and move forward. And like all good teams do, we are transparent. Our process becomes visible for everyone, because if I am a CEO, I'll not be able to talk to everyone. I need a process which is visual, which is kind of taking one thing at a time and doing things, right? And from a human perspective, I would look at principle number 7 to 9, where we apply cadence. Everybody starts on the same day, ends on the same day. If I have 10 teams, everybody starts on the same day and ends on the same day. So 2-week sprint or 3-week sprint, whatever you want to call, so that people can come together. That's why we create synergies while PA planning or our sync meetings, right? They become intertangled with the people. And eighth one talks about intrinsic motivation. Yes, money is a motivator, but at the same time, purpose motive should be more than the profit motive. I call it as why should I go to office on a Monday morning? So I need that answer. Or now in the COVID world, why should I open my laptop on a Monday morning? So what is that purpose motive you are building with people? And finally, ninth one talks about decentralizing decision making. This is where I was repeatedly calling out, as a CEO, I can't make every decision. I need that, like you guys called out, a second line, third line, whatever it is. People should be able to take decisions what they're worth for. So they should do that one. And 10th principle specifically was added in 5.0, organize around the value. End of the day, all you are doing is, from the customer perspective, you want to add that value to the customer. That's the main focus that you would have. Nothing more than that. Make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah. Again, start small. That's where SAFe also says, again, if you go to the SAFe's implementation roadmap, I'm giving you more Jnan, sorry for that. You start small. You look at, what is that first train I can launch, or what is that first program that I can launch and pilot? You look at that, and end of the day, only when the business results come in and show, people believe, and people get onto the journey, right? You can sell a vision, but for how many days? I get complacent in a week, right? How do you keep up my motivation after a week? Yeah. Make sense?
Yep.
Okay. Preet,
thank you so much.
This was me. So
yeah, thank you. This was really interactive, and I think this was loaded with a lot of learning as well. Thank you so much, Ashwini.
Yeah, Preet, as we talked about, we want to make this not again. The question that I would ask now in this COVID world is, why should I join this webinar, right? So please, guys, let us know, why should you join webinar, or why should your friends join webinar, right? So let us know, how can we improve? We believe that, we can make it even better. I tried my best shot, maybe, or maybe 50% of my effort, I did something. Let us know, how can we make it more interactive, more inclusive, and learn from each other? We want to tell stories because one thing about SAFe is, while SAFe is has 28% of market share and leader in the scaling world, there is also some bit of a bad mouthing, so to say. SAFe is hierarchical. SAFe doesn't take care of this. Doesn't take care of this. We want to kind of solve those myths by not retaliating, but rather telling stories, right? Real life stories. We don't want to put something which we have not experienced. We want to put something we have experienced. Make sense?
Yeah. So my name is Parul Bhargav. I think the session was quite interactive, as well as the way you had presented it. It did not give away what we are going to look at. It didn't give away the picture that you see on the SAFe website. I think it was great storytelling, and I think that really helped to get that picture, and the picture we'll not forget. I won't forget for quite some time.
We will share that picture as a PDF. So
I would say that it's very good, and I think a lot of people would remember the SAFe picture later on with that story about starting up. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Guys, one tip for any consultants on the call, usually I will charge some few $1,000s for this one, free of cost today. Just kidding. Is even if you're talking about Scrum, Safe, whatever it is, right? I mean, if you're going to leader, don't start with framework, right? So talk from the value perspective. Talk from, I mean, what is their problem statement today? How can we both work together to solve that problem? Frameworks will come later, right? So you know that framework, and they also know the frameworks. It's not that leaders don't know about the frameworks. They would have heard those names. They will be open to that discussion later. I mean, when you start talking from a value and a customer and a problem solving perspective. Yeah.
Yeah, Ashwini, I think so. This is a valuable advice.
Yeah. I mean, we tend to start with, I know this one and I will solve your problem. No, I mean, Safe Scrum is not a end goal. It's a mean to achieve some of your business values and end goals. Yeah.
Right.
Cool. Awesome. We are at the dot. Anything else that we could help with? And guys, I mean, follow us on Safe Thursday meetup group, and you can put your comments, valuable suggestions there. It's there also. And you can also reach out to me and Preet on LinkedIn. That's the easiest way to connect with us and reach to us. We are always open to suggestions and want to see you soon. Preet, you have thought
just
about
one more
the next
point.
one? Yeah, sorry. Sorry,
Ashwini,
please
just one more point. I think we need to speak about the failures also, right?
Yeah.
Because maybe it will give it will help other team where Safe is being implemented as a lighthouse where not to go.
Yeah. So what we'll do is, I mean, this was Sankranti today, and I think this festival is called, I mean, different ways in a different part of India. One festival, I mean, which is celebrated throughout India, right? Mostly. So we'll start with a positive note, right? And
absolutely,
definitely, we are going to have a lot more failure case studies rather than success stories, right? So we want to avoid those blind spots, definitely.
Ashwini, I differ here. I would say let's start with the success, and then we can really talk about the failures, because here we are. The motive for me is to learn what we can do rather than what not to do, maybe at a later stage. So as we move forward for learning perspective, that's just my point of view, that it would be good if we know what we can do and how we can scale in the right way. By giving value to the customer.
Sure. See, again, I mean, when we talk about a failure stories, I mean, we are going to take a positive viewpoint on that one. I failed here. I could have done differently, or I mean, I should have done these things differently, right? I mean, we will again get those different viewpoints on what is the right thing to do. Again, when I say failure stories, I would see them as a stepping stone to success rather than as a failure, right?
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are at 8:32. Thank you, Ashwini. Thank you very much. I think we did hear quite a bit of feedbacks, and that speaks for itself. Thank you very much. And we'll be back on the 4th Thursday.
Yeah.
Again, for now, what we have planned is start with the 10th principle that Ashwini talked about. Right?
Yeah.
Let's organize around value. So the next session coming up is around value stream identification. Yeah. So just to get an insight on what's value stream, how do you identify a value stream?
Sure.
So that's coming up next. As Ashwini was saying, if you haven't joined Safe Thursday meetup group yet, I would really request you guys to head over to meetup.com, Safe Thursday, register yourself, and then we are going to keep posting all the stuffs that are going to come up from the meetup.com site. And of course, we would be talking about it even in our LinkedIn handles. Right? And yes, Mohan, we would be sharing the recordings in the next couple of days.
Sure.
Yeah. Cool. So thank you so much. Do write in about your experiences or any suggestions that you have. And we will definitely try and see how is it that we can accommodate all the requests that we have. Yeah. So thank you so much, and we see you guys soon. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ashwini. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Ashwini.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody.